Mercury muscle cars? Absolutely. And we've got a cool survivor, a '69 Mercury Cougar XR7 with a Cobra Jet 428. The Mercury Cougar. It's kind of a different car. It was originally designed to be a mid-level luxury car between the Ford Mustang and the Ford Thunderbird, but in the Mercury line. So the Ford guys took the Mustang platform, they extended it a little bit and changed the styling just a little bit, added some luxury items, and came out with the Cougar in 1967. It's funny because if you look at a Cougar, it really doesn't look like a Mustang. You know, some cars like the Camaro and Firebird that share the same platform, they look very similar, but I always thought the Cougars looked substantially different from the Mustang brothers. In fact, I think they only used the glass and that's about it on the outside. Underside, they're very similar to Mustangs, which means they've got a great potential for performance. So by 1969, Ford was selling under the Mercury name a bunch of different Cougars with performance packages like the XR7 and this week's muscle car of the week, the CJ428. The styling on the XR7 CJ428 is pretty unique. The XR7 was supposed to be more of a European version of the Cougar. These Cougar XR7s are really nice cars inside. I mean, the whole idea was kind of a Mercury Mustang. You know, it still shares a lot of the Mustang componentry, suspension, and chassis, but they tuned it up to be a little more luxurious inside the car. So you've got these plush seats, you've got upgraded audio systems, air conditioning, you've got a console up here with some switches for all the lights. But this one's got the 428 Cobra Jet, so it performs like a Mustang, but just a lot more comfortably. The nose styling changed a little bit for 1969. There was a joke that the earlier cars with their vertical grille bars and hidden headlights looked like an electric shaver. In this case, they still have the hidden headlights, but now the trim goes horizontally instead of vertically. Around the back of the car, there's a really clean-looking, polished and chrome trim that surrounds the taillights, but the taillights still have the sequential function, which was kind of a Thunderbird thing that they incorporated into the Cougar. The XR7 Cobra Jet graphics package wasn't super, in your face. There's hood pins on the nose. It's got a functional scoop, but it's body color, so it doesn't stand out quite that much, and a small stripe that says CJ428 for the Cobra Jet motor. So, you could be an executive and kind of glide in under the radar with this car and not stand out. And one of the coolest things about this particular one is I'm pretty sure it's wearing almost all of its original paint. It's also riding on the styled steel 15-inch wheels. There's some chrome and polished stainless trim that goes around the wheel arches and across the rocker moldings, and there's an XR7 badge on the sail panel. But from the side, it almost looks just like a base model Cougar until you open the hood. The engine bay on this 428 Cobra Jet Cougar doesn't really look like a race car. It looks more like a luxury car because that's what it is, but there's still a good mix of stuff going on here. One thing that's pretty cool is the 428 Cobra Jet engine. This thing made 335 horsepower, 440 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a C6 automatic transmission behind it, so it's got plenty of oomph to fry the tires and make this car run really hard. It also has a flapper door on top of the air filter unit, and this scoop is functional, so when you step on the gas, the vacuum level changes, that door opens, and you get fresh air from outside the car. Kind of a race car thing. But then you've got air conditioning, you've got power brakes, you've got all the creature comforts you could want at the same time. So this is a car you could drive every day and not get beat to death and still enjoy it. Some other interesting things are the Hideaway Headlights. These have a central vacuum motor that operates the flapper doors on those. So part of what you see here are vacuum lines that control that kind of stuff. So again, it looks more like a luxury car than a race car, but you step on the gas and it feels more like a race car than a luxury car. And I think they only made about 140 of these CJ428 Cougars. So it's not a car that's very common. So if you see one, take a minute to check it out because they didn't make very many. Now the paint on this particular car is far from perfect, but it's a survivor. This has been around for a long time and it shows the wear marks to prove it. The Brothers collection is full of muscle cars that are, true definitions of the word, with Hemi cars, bright colors, things that are just loud and obnoxious. But it's also cool to see that they have some of these understated, more subtle cars like the CJ428 Cougar. But at the same time, this is one that probably won a lot of stoplight races back in its day on the street. We've got some more detailed photos of this car on the website at musclecaroftheweek.com. And don't forget, we always put a teaser up on our Facebook page, so be sure you like Muscle Car of the Week and try and guess what next week's car is going to be. In the meantime, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of Muscle Car of the Week.